Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today's subject is graveyard dirt. Graveyard dirt is a very important ingredient in a lot of magical practices in Hoodoo or conjure tradition. A lot of times graveyard dirt is associated with hexes and curses and destructive magic. For example, graveyard dirt is often used in crossing powders, hot foot powder, goofer dust, which often incorporates graveyard dirt, powdered sulfur or brimstone, powdered rattlesnake skins, salt, things like that are often used in cursing powders. Crossing powders, hot foot powder, goofer dust. Sometimes graveyard dirt is used by itself to curse someone or to cause their death. Now, graveyard dirt is also used to summon the dead, and it's used to get the dead to be a helper, to get a dead person to help you in magic. You're basically purchasing that dead person's services to help you for a time. Now, Hoodoo is not a negative practice. A lot of people that work with Hoodoo only do positive work. So there's a lot of positivity there, and a lot of conjure doctors, some of them only do positive workings, but there is a darker side to Hoodoo. You have to understand that this is a collection of African witchcraft practiced in the United States, in Mississippi, Louisiana, all over the southern United States. So there is a darker aspect to it, but a lot of times it's a positive practice. Now, graveyard dirt, as I said, is often associated with curses, causing death to your enemies and things like that. But it's also used to summon the dead. Basically, when you get dirt from someone's grave, you are making a contract with that dead person to help you in some sort of way. So, when you get graveyard dirt from a person's grave, you are going to get that dead person to do some kind of work for you. So, although graveyard dirt is often associated with negative forms of magic, it's often used for positive work, such as good luck, love spells, things like that. And basically, you're getting the dead to work for you. It is used to summon the dead. Now, what you're going to use it for will largely depend on the dead person that you're going to use in magic and their grave. If you are looking for protection, you would probably not use someone that was wimpy in life. You'd get like a police officer or a soldier in a protective type of working. At the same time, if you're trying to win a legal battle, you may get a dead person that was a lawyer or a judge in life. If you're working on healing, you may get a dead person that was a doctor or a healer, someone that had healing powers. So when you get graveyard dirt, you get it from a specific grave with the understanding that that dead person is somehow going to be summoned by you for help in magic. For example, let's say that you're working with a dead person named John Michael Smith, and you want good luck at work. You'll have some graveyard dirt, and you'll say, John Michael Smith. You know, you'll call on him and summon him to get him to help you at work or whatever. Now, there's a specific way that you get graveyard dirt. You don't just go in a cemetery and scoop up some dirt and call on some dead person. That's not how it works. For one thing, you have to have permission. You don't force the dead to do your bidding. This has to be a respectful practice. You ask permission, and you only work with someone that's willing to help you. Second of all, you have to buy graveyard dirt. There is an exchange that has to occur. Oftentimes, the rate of exchange is some coins or a shot of alcohol like whiskey, or both. So you may use a silver dime, 3 pennies, something like that, and a shot of alcohol. That's really popular. So basically, what do you do if you want to work with a dead person to give you luck or whatever you need done, love spells? Basically, you go to a graveyard and you state your case. Normally this is done at night, at nighttime. Now some places it's illegal to be in a cemetery at night, so it all depends on where you live. If you can go to the cemetery at night, around midnight, some people like to do it during the dark moon, during the full moon, and you go into the graveyard and you state, you'll have a candle or a lantern, and you'll state your case, your situation, what you want to the dead. And if a certain tombstone calls out to you, you'll walk up to that grave and you state your situation. And you ask if that dead person is willing to help you. If the answer's no, then you go to another grave. Ask them if they're willing to help you. This is a consensual thing where the dead person wants to help you. So you have to get permission. If you feel that the dead person is willing to help you, then you will scoop up some dirt. You'll scoop up some dirt, and then you drop a silver dime in the hole. And you say, "As I have paid you in silver, so shall you pay me in labor." And you may drop a shot of whiskey in there. It's a symbolic exchange. I take the dirt, I give you these coins, or this dime, or whatever, or this silver dollar. So it's a symbolic rate of exchange. If you're taking, you're giving. And then you'll use this dirt to call on the power of that dead person. So let's say that you're working with a dead guy named John Michael Smith. You may, and you want good luck at work. You may sprinkle this dirt around you, calling on him, John Michael Smith, and then go to work. You may sprinkle it around your job. So there are different ways that this is used. You buy graveyard dirt. You offer a silver dime, a mercury dime, a shot of alcohol, and take from a grave of a dead person that's willing to work with you. Basically, this is a magical helper. This is someone, you are working with a dead person, a dead guy or woman. Or you might be working with a Sean Edwards to protect your home. Whatever the case may be, a dead person is summoned and used to do your bidding in a sense. Now, ideally, you would work with your ancestors, such as your dead grandmother, your great-grandfather, your uncle, because for one thing, you have their blood, and for another thing, you're their grandson or whatever. So your dead relatives would care more to help you than some stranger. So you may ask your dead grandmother to protect your home. So let's say you want your dead grandmother to protect your home. You would go to her grave, ask her if she'll help you. And you're supposed to listen. If the answer's no, then the answer's no, she won't do it. Then you may ask your grandfather, "Grandfather, will you please protect my home?" And you listen. If you think the answer's yes, then you start digging up some dirt. Now, when you're digging in the dead person's grave, if you start to get a creepy feeling like the dead person's not happy with what you're doing, then stop. The answer's no. So it's really important to understand that you have to have their permission and consent. And you have to have a certain level of respect. Ideally, it's just a handful. Okay? Now, if you're going to get a bunch, then you need to bring a potted plant. So you're replacing dirt. You don't want to deface the graves. This is supposed to be a respectful thing. You're not desecrating graves. That's different. Hold on just a second. This is some graveyard dirt that I've collected. And I took a potted plant that I bought at the local grocery store. And this is a really good way to disguise what you're doing. And I had to go in the daytime. So basically, if you want to be kind of sneaky with it, bring a potted plant and dig out the dirt and put it in the pot and you put the plant in the dirt. So it looks like you're just planting. You take this graveyard dirt home and you use it. You call if you want your dead grandmother to protect your home, you may bury this in your front yard, saying her full name. Grandmother, protect my home. And if you bury this by your front door, the idea is that your dead grandmother will protect the house. So you are using the dead, you are summoning them to do your bidding in a sense. Again, if you're in a legal battle and you need to win a lawsuit, you may call on a dead lawyer. So whatever traits they had in life are seen as that's their traits. Those are their strong points. Some people believe in using using a dead soldier because soldiers are strong and follow orders. Some people use some people use small children that have died because they're easy to manipulate to do your will. I don't agree with that. That's what some people do. And while here in the West we're kind of squeamish towards working with the dead, this is all ties back to ancient African traditions of ancestor veneration. The idea is that the dead are able to help the living from beyond the grave. And your graveyard dirt is tied to that person. So this is used to summon the dead and use the dead as a magical helper to help you with love. If you want to do a love spell, you may say your grandparents were together for 40 years and they had a really happy relationship. You may take some dirt from over the heart of someone that loved you in life and use that in a love spell. If you're looking for true love, you may sprinkle it around you before you go on a date, whatever the case may be. Now, graveyard dirt is used in a number of ways. It could be dried out in the sun and sifted into a fine powder. This could be thrown as a powder. You throw it at work for good and call on the dead person to help you at work. You could sprinkle the powder and call on the dead person's name whenever you need them. They could also be put in little bags and you call on that dead person. If you want gambling luck and you're going to the casino and a dead person's helping you, you might carry that in a little bag. They could be used. You can burn candles on them. You could use them in a candle spell just to add a little power to your working. You could also use them in a bottle spell and shake the bottle calling on that dead person's name to prod them into action. So yes, that's basically it. Ideally, it should be your ancestors, your grandmother, your grandfather, to help you from beyond the grave. Now, if your ancestors are buried in another state, let's say all your dead family's in Louisiana and you live in New York. What do? You're going to have to use someone else's dead. Now, it's real easy nowadays to look up on your phone, you know, you can just type in a name on Google and it'll pull up if that person was a lawyer, a doctor, so you may have to do a little research. This is supposed to be a respectful practice. You're not forcing the dead to do your bidding. You are asking for their help. Okay? So a police or a fireman, these types of dead people would be for protection. A soldier, a doctor or a healer, someone that had good healing powers, may use it for a healing. So there are positive uses for graveyard dirt. It's not always for curses. Sometimes it's used for healing, love, good luck, whatever. Now, as I said at the beginning, graveyard dirt does have a darker side. Now, I'm not saying this is okay. Okay? I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying that this is okay to do. However, for this to be a complete video, to completely cover the topic, I'll talk about some of the darker elements. I don't advise you to do it, but sometimes it's used in crossing powders, goofer dust, it's used to confuse an enemy or to make them get sick or ill or to kill them even. Hot foot powder often uses graveyard dirt along with red hot peppers and sulfur to make someone move away. Sometimes graveyard dirt is used to cause your enemy's death. So, for example, if you want to kill someone, you may make a little doll and put them in a little miniature coffin, and you make a mock funeral over it and bury it in a graveyard, and it's supposed to kill your enemy. You may make a black candle representing your enemy and snuff out the flame in some graveyard dirt symbolizing your death. You may take their foot track, pick it up, put the dirt on it and turn it over to symbolize death. You may put some graveyard dirt in their shoe and then make a trail at each crossroads to the nearest graveyard so they'll take that route. So sometimes graveyard dirt is used to kill someone. Sometimes it's used in cursing powders along with sulfur, powdered rattlesnake skin, things like that. And sometimes it's not really calling on the dead person, it's just using that grave powder or that graveyard dirt because of the energies of the dead person without really calling on them. And sometimes, this is really bad, sometimes the dead are called to curse or hurt your enemies. Sometimes people use the dead for not so good things. Now, people that try to get a dead person to hurt someone, usually they get a criminal, a murderer, someone that was a murderer, a criminal, someone that had a violent death. Someone that burned to death, a violent death, a criminal, murderer. Because if you're going to do something negative, you're going to need to use a negative character. Someone that was hanged to death, executed. And those types of people are used to hurt your enemies. If your enemy's last name is Smith, you could find someone that was murdered by someone with the last name Smith in order to get that dead person to exact their revenge. Sometimes they'll take a negative spirit and their graveyard dirt and they'll throw it in someone's house or in their yard so that that dead person would go haunt your enemy. So some people, if they don't like someone, they'll try to get a dead person to go haunt them so that they'll hear groans, whispers, they may be going up the stairs and someone pushes them down the stairs. So this could be used in really negative, horrible ways. Hoodoo is often a positive practice, but there are darker elements to it. Not everyone does the bad stuff. So graveyard dirt is often used for bad things, but it's also used to summon the dead or to use a dead person to do work for you. And that, in a nutshell, is graveyard dirt. Thank you for joining me, and see y'all next time.